Trump's new tariff war. Chaos, betrayal, and global fallout. It's been 90 days since Donald Trump declared his so-called Liberation Day for trade, a high-stakes ultimatum to the world. Make a deal with the U.S. by July 9th or face punishing new tariffs. But July 9th came and went, and nothing happened. No sweeping trade deals, no diplomatic victories. Just more confusion. So now, in classic Trump fashion, the deadline has moved to August 1st. But here's the reality. No one's taking Trump seriously anymore. Not China, not Europe, and certainly not Japan or South Korea, two of America's closest allies, who now find themselves directly in the crosshairs. Instead of securing diplomatic wins, Trump has triggered a global backlash by announcing a new wave of tariffs. 14 countries are being hit, many of them longtime U.S. partners. The markets? They tanked. Allies? Furious. And the American public? About to pay more for everything from Japanese cars to Malaysian electronics and South African minerals. So how did we get here? And what is Trump really trying to accomplish? Let's break it down. Deadlines that don't mean anything. Trump's tactic of using deadlines to pressure Congress has worked before. But foreign governments aren't U.S. lawmakers. They don't panic when the clock runs out. Back in April, Trump paused his global tariff plan and gave countries 90 days to negotiate new trade agreements. The goal was clear: either sign a deal or get slapped with tariffs. Fast forward to July, and nothing happened. So now the new hard deadline is August 1st. When asked about the delay, Trump deflected. "I think we'll have most countries done by July 9th, he told reporters. That didn't happen. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent later confirmed that if there's no progress, the old tariffs will return by August 1st. But here's the truth: there is no plan. Just threats, moving goalposts, and rising global tension. All eyes turn targets. What's truly shocking is who Trump is targeting. Japan and South Korea, two of America's strongest and most loyal allies. Japan, in particular, has done everything to support the U.S. from military cooperation to buying more U.S. Treasury bonds than any other country. And yet, it now faces a 25% tariff on its car and tech exports. South Korea isn't spared either. Hyundai and other major manufacturers could be crushed by Trump's new trade policy. Other countries facing steep tariffs include Malaysia, Kazakhstan, Bosnia, South Africa, Laos, and Myanmar. Laos and Myanmar, among the poorest in the region, are being hit with a 40% penalty, crippling for economies that barely register on the global trade radar. The absurdity? Trump is treating all these nations, ranging from economic giants to developing states, as if they're part of some massive conspiracy to cheat America. Market mayhem. Trump's tariff threats have once again thrown markets into turmoil. On the day he announced the new measures, the Dow Jones plummeted more than 420 points. The Nasdaq fell nearly 190. The S&P 500 dropped over 49 points. Why? Because this doesn't look like strategy. It looks like chaos. Companies that rely on global supply chains, especially automakers and tech firms, are now facing higher costs. Businesses don't know if this is just posturing or the start of a full-blown trade war, and that uncertainty is toxic to investment, planning, and global economic stability. A recycled disaster, this isn't Trump's first rodeo with tariffs, and that's exactly the problem. His first term was defined by constant trade skirmishes, which led to unstable markets, higher consumer prices, and frayed alliances. Back then, he insisted tariffs were a great negotiating tactic, but few real benefits emerged. And now, he's doing it all over again. Even the revised tariff list feels recycled. Cambodia's rate, for instance, dropped from 49% to 36%. Laos went from 48% to 40%. These aren't major shifts. It's just the same message with new packaging. Do what I say, or suffer the consequences. Meanwhile, Trump is promising 90 deals in 90 days. But so far, we've seen only a handful of vague agreements, and even those lack substance. Japan's strategic importance among all the countries targeted. Japan stands out not just for its economic weight, but for its geopolitical role. Japan is America's fourth largest trading partner. Its industries, autos, electronics, semiconductors, are deeply integrated into U.S. supply chains. If Japan retaliates, the fallout could be catastrophic. Prices for cars, gadgets, and even advanced components in aerospace and defense could skyrocket. U.S. automakers can't even crack the Japanese market, so this fight won't make American cars more competitive. It'll just hurt U.S. consumers. Beyond trade, Japan hosts more than 50,000 U.S. troops. It's a linchpin in America's security architecture in the Indo-Pacific. Undermining that relationship could weaken Washington's position against China and North Korea, and Japan holds a powerful economic card, over $1 trillion in used treasury bonds. If Tokyo decides to use that leverage, it could shake global financial markets. Yet Trump appears to believe Japan will simply cave. He's underestimating their resilience, and it could backfire in spectacular fashion. South Korea's economic nightmare. South Korea, too, is in a difficult spot. Hyundai and Kia face crippling tariffs on vehicles exported to the U.S., which could force layoffs and factory cuts back home. At the same time, Seoul is trying to manage a delicate diplomatic balance, with North Korea looming to the north and China's shadow over the region. Trump's moves risk pushing South Korea closer to China, something Washington desperately wants to avoid. Economic fallout for Americans. Let's be clear, tariffs are not free money. Trump loves to say that tariffs have brought in $80 billion. But who pays that money? Not foreign governments. American consumers. Tariffs are a tax on imports. When a 25% tariff hits Japanese electronics or Bangladeshi clothing, the price goes up for the average American. Retailers like Walmart and Target had stocked up to beat the last round of tariffs, but that inventory is running out. Expect to see prices rise, especially after Labor Day, on everything from laptops to clothing to groceries. Inflation, which had been relatively stable, is now poised to surge. Small businesses, already hit by past supply chain issues, are getting squeezed again. And farmers may soon feel the pain if other countries retaliate with tariffs on U.S. agricultural products. Strategy or showmanship. The most frustrating part is that none of this seems carefully thought out. Trump's moves appear more performative than strategic. Former advisors like Stephen Moore claim deals are coming within weeks, but there's little evidence. Treasury officials are left to spin empty promises while markets wobble. Even China, the real trade giant in all this, remains a mystery. Trump says a deal is on paper, but no one's seen it. If negotiations with Beijing collapse, it could ignite a global trade firestorm. Meanwhile, Trump is alienating allies, confusing markets, and inflating prices, all while declaring victory. The global isolation risk. This erratic approach is damaging U.S. credibility. Countries no longer know what to expect or whether America's word means anything. If Japan and South Korea grow tired of the drama, they could shift closer to China's economic orbit. That would be a disaster for U.S. exporters and a massive blow to American diplomatic influence. Already, signs of such a pivot are emerging. Japan is engaging more with China through regional trade blocs, like the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP. If this trend continues, America could find itself isolated economically and strategically. The bottom line. Donald Trump's latest tariff crusade isn't about strengthening the U.S. economy or securing smart trade deals. It's about power, optics, and control. It's about looking tough, even if the consequences are disastrous. The markets are nervous. All eyes are rattled. And Americans are about to start feeling the pain at the checkout line, at the car dealership, and in their paychecks. We've seen this movie before. It didn't end well the first time. And this time, the stakes are even higher. Subscribe to stay ahead of the next economic storm, because this story is far from over.